Hey, what's up? This is Ross, and I am going to give a kind of a retrospective because it is the 35th anniversary of Alien, and I'm going to kind of give a retrospective for me on like what it was like, when I growing up with this series and watching it for quite a while. All right. Okay. So back in 1979, Ridley Scott brought forth one of the greatest science fiction films of all time, Alien. Now, up until that time, he did a small little movie called The Duelists, which kind of brought a lot of people attention for his name. All right, so they were looking for someone to direct Alien, and Ridley Scott was the right type of guy. Now, the one thing that they were trying to figure out was the visual style of this movie. So they saw some of H.R. Giger's, the late great visionary. Sadly, he passed away this year. The late great visionary H.R. Giger, who was at the time doing mainly just serial drawings and stuff like that, and they were some of the most beautiful, most unsound drawings you would ever see up until that time. All right, so Ridley Scott saw this when he was doing conceptual artwork and stuff like that, and he said, "That's it. I have to have this guy. I'm not doing this movie until this guy comes on board." So they managed to get him on board, and they made some of the most amazing, incredible sets you will ever see in a movie. Still to this day, 35 years later, I see these sets and I'm like blown away about how detailed they are and how absolutely superb they look on film. Alright, so now that I've talked to us about some of the movie, we're going to get to my retrospective on Alien itself, okay? I was only about 3 years old at the time, and my parents decided to go to a drive-in, and they decided to go to Alien. Alright, so, and it was kind of a double bill, Alien and Jaws put together and stuff like that, which just sounds absolutely awesome, and I wish I was old enough to have seen it at that time. But that's the first time where I ever went to Alien. Now, the first time that I ever saw Alien was exactly 4 years later, at about 7 years old. Alright? So about 7 years old, I saw Alien for the first time, and it absolutely blew my mind. Even as a kid, it absolutely blew my mind how absolutely dark this movie could be. Even as a kid, which I didn't really understand what the movie meant, but I did understand that it was quite a different kind of movie. That I did, as much I did understand, okay? Wasn't until about 11 years old when I actually understood the movie, when I saw kind of before I went to the theaters to go see Aliens, I saw Alien and I understood what the film meant. And after I understood it, I respected the film. I respected every single ounce of what I saw on that screen. I respected in the fact that they made this vision unlike anything that I've ever seen before. I finally understood the plot to the point where I could get how incredibly complex this movie was. it's not just about some alien running around a ship killing people. It's about the relationships that are breaking apart aboard this ship while this alien is attacking. That's what I got when I was 11 years old. To the fact that when I went into Aliens with my dad, I enjoyed Aliens even more. I found Aliens to be cooler because I saw Alien. Alright? And the one thing that stuck with me, of course, with everybody that has seen Alien, was that one chestburster scene that, unlike any movie, up until 3 years later, with John Carpenter's The Thing, would ever be matched in that type of graphic, horrific scene that came out of that. For a movie to do that to people, and for a movie to last, to have a legacy that lasts 35 years, is absolutely phenomenal. Alright? And to all intents and purposes, I actually saw the Alien exhibit when I was at here in Seattle, Washington, in a science fiction exhibit. And when I saw the detail that was put in these props, and the detail that was put in these sets, they had the whole entire room kind of covered. It was so awesome. They had the whole entire room covered in the same type of design as Alien, one of the Alien sets in there. You know, when you first enter in the ship, it's kind of got all this darkish design and stuff like that. And it had that design inside of the room, and I was so flabbergasted to see how much detail that was in person that it makes you respect the movie even more, to the point when you see 35 years later, the damn movie still holds up on screen, even to the first day it came out in the theaters. It holds up, and it holds up because of the fact that it is truly a masterpiece in science fiction. It is a masterpiece in science fiction only to be topped by its own sequel, Aliens. The legacy of Alien is found in action figures. It's found in movies. The sequels that have come along, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Alien vs. Predator, Aliens vs. Predator. It comes to that point where you're coming around sitting here saying, this thing really is bigger than life, when you see that it's come this far 35 years later, and they're still selling the Alien action figures from 35 years ago. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, I personally am glad that I was a part of seeing Alien in that drive-in, even though I was 3 years old, that I was a part of that history. That I was a part of the 35-year history of Alien, and I was more than happy to be a part of it, because in all intents and purposes, it is an amazing feat of accomplishment when you see the film, even today. So my retrospective will conclude on the fact and the note that they just don't make science fiction movies like these anymore. Now you've got comic book movies and all these other stuff. And you did have Prometheus, but it didn't match Alien. Not even close. Alright, so thank you very much for watching. and I hope you enjoyed my retrospective.